This video is sponsored by Muckov, and right now you can enjoy a 20% discount off their entire range by using a special code at their website linked down below.
Hello, I'm Jim from jimthebikeguy.com, and we're going to talk about punctures, how to fix inner tubes. This is one of those things that affects nearly everybody, but you'd be surprised how many people don't know how to do this. So we're going to go through it today, and we're also going to talk about when not to fix it, i.e. how many punctures is too many punctures, and also maybe you need to get better tyres. That's quite often the thing if you're getting a lot of punctures. In fact, let's cover that at the start. Let's say you live in an area where there might be a lot of flints, there might be a lot of thorns on the road, there might be a lot of farm tracks, and you really find you're picking up an unusual amount of punctures. Before we even get into doing this, I'm going to recommend that you buy yourself some tougher tyres. It's always a good upgrade. Okay, let's give this inner tube a puncture. Can you hear that? Hiss. That's that nightmare sound. You're out and about, you're miles from home, and you suddenly become aware that the bike isn't handling right, and you can hear that telltale hiss, and all of a sudden you slow right down and you look down and your tyre's going down. Fear not. Whip that inner tube out of the wheel, and we did do a previous video about this. Go and look for that, link below, on how to get your wheel and your inner tube out of your tyre. Do that, and then let's find the hole. So the first and most important skill is actually locating the site of the puncture. Sounds obvious, it kind of is. Not always that easy to do though. So you've just got to use your sensors really. There are kind of all sorts of old wives' tales about how you dump it, you inflate it and you dunk it in a bath of water and look for the bubbles coming out, which is great, but I don't recall there being many lay-bys or kind of country lanes with just baths full of water on them or buckets full of water. So you're going to have to go looking for it. So the first and most easiest way is just to go round it with your eyes. Don't forget you've got the inner tube out of the wheel now, so there's nothing wrong with rolling it around a little bit between finger and thumb. Go looking for it. It might look like a pinhole, it might look like a cut or a split. So just pay attention and look in and out, and particularly have a look around the valve area. This is the valve, and you'll see that it's bonded into the tube with like a kind of a mushroom shaped patch almost of its own. Quite a lot of punctures are where the valve itself has split at that bond, that seam if you like. If that's happened, that's kind of difficult to fix, and I would advise you to put a different tube in if you can see a failure anywhere around this area here, because it's virtually guaranteed that you will not be able to patch that. And for that very reason, I'd always say whenever you go out riding, take another tube as well as the ones that you've got in your wheels. So we're going to carry on looking for it, and I'm going to think, I can't see it. So the next thing I'm going to do, put some air back in it so it reveals itself to you. Hopefully you took a little pump out with you as well when you went out riding. I've got this compressor, but that's because I'm in my nice warm workshop at the minute. So we're going to gas it up a bit. Now I can really hear it. If you do that, your cheek is very sensitive, and you'll hear it and you'll feel it and you'll know exactly where it is, and you won't get long because the air goes out the tyre really, really quick. Oh, and by the way, you might have two punctures. It's not uncommon. So just because you find one, don't forget, do a wide area sweep and go looking for another one. And if you found two punctures, the chances are you've got two thorns in your tyres. So don't forget to go and check for them in the process. Okay, I have found the site of my puncture. There it is. I'm going to have a look at the shape of the hole, and I'm going to ask myself, is it repairable? I think it probably is. It's on the outer band of the tube. It's smack bang in the middle. It's nowhere near the valve, so it isn't going to cause me any hassle. If you wanted to, and you had the means to, you could mark the location of it. I've got one of these little crayons, which you quite often find inside those old school puncture repair kits. So I'm just going to draw an arrow. Some people draw a circle around the puncture mark itself, around the hole itself. I don't like that because that might interfere with whatever you go gluing onto it. A better idea is to draw an arrow pointing towards it, some distance away like that, because now I know there it is. But if I go putting a big load of wax crayon on the site where I'm just about to go sticking a sticky patch, there's a good chance that whatever's in that, the oils or whatever, probably going to stop the patch sticking. Okay. On the subject of puncture repair kits, you might have these memories of when you were young, your dad fixing your punctures for you with that whole kind of little plastic box with a bit of sandpaper in it and like a weird cheese gratery thing and some chalk and a little tube of glue that had probably dried up and all that stuff, and it was about this long and it was a bit of a hassle. You can still use one of those if you want, but I'm going to show you what I use nowadays. These instant stick-on patches are so much easier. They're really cheap. Muck-Off sell them, other people sell them. They're the easiest things in the world to use. Generally speaking, if one of these is going to work, then the other type of puncture repair kit would have worked. And if that would have worked, one of these is going to work. These take up a lot less space in your saddlebag. So let's get one stuck on. I can still see where it is because I drew myself two handy big chunky arrows there. What I really want in order to kind of accurately stick this thing down is I want to check the site of the hole is kind of dry and clear of things like oils and nasty gunge that might have come out of that wet lay-by you're in. And the chances are with those sticky patches that you've got, and I am a strong advocate of using them, there probably still will be a little bit of sandpaper or some kind of roughening device, if you like, in the box. And that's just to give the surface a bit of an abrasion to give the glue the best chance to stick down. So given that we've been around this tube, given that I can sort of 99.9% say I've only got one puncture, I know I have because I stabbed the hole in it earlier, I'm going to roughen the area around that hole. Just give it a bit of a rub, go in two directions like that, just aiming to, I guess, lacerate the surface of the tube a little bit without going too crazy. I'm not sort of advocating that you go absolutely mad, but you're just trying to create enough, I guess, imperfections in the surface of the tube at that point there. And it might help as well, you get this seam, so you get like a moulding seam in the middle of the tube, and actually if you can flatten that off a little tiny bit without actually causing the tube to come apart, just give it a little bit of that. Okay. Again, having a look at it, yeah, there's no gunge or oil. I've roughened it up, good to go. So I'm going to get one of my patches, and these are literally tacky, lovely self-adhesive things. When you take it off the backing paper, keep your fingers off of it because you're kind of relying on it to stick. Make sure you've got some daylight above you. Make sure you can see what you're doing. And then hit your mark as best as you can. You want the puncture hole right in the middle of the patch, like that. And then this is the most important part. Really, really, really work it. You can see what I'm doing here. Just like in the old days with those rubber patches that you probably remember using where you had to stick the glue on, the principle is the same. You're looking to give it a really, really good working into position like this. Mainly because you want to press out any air bubbles. And the other reason I like to do this is because by doing this, I'm kind of making the patch get a bit warmer. And I kind of feel like if I'm making it warmer, the glue underneath is getting a bit warmer and everything kind of sticks better and gets a bit more flexible. Okay, pretty happy with that. You can see that it's conformed quite nicely the material of the patch is flexible enough that it's even overridden that kind of manufacturing seam there and stuck nicely either side of it. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And as I said earlier, I've already checked for the other lurking puncture around the other side. I'm confident I've only got one. I've definitely double checked the inside of my tyre, because there's nothing more demoralising than going through all of this that I just did, which isn't a massive job, but there's nothing more demoralising than whacking it back in thinking, yay, nailed it, and then you hear that hiss again because you completely failed to scan the inside of the tyre for that lurking thorn that you didn't see the first time around. So just take that extra time to be absolutely sure you're not immediately going to give yourself another puncture. The next thing to do really is do a test inflation on it before you put it back in the wheel, just in case for some reason this patch isn't going to do its job, or, as I keep going on about, you've got that second puncture you didn't know about. Because again, if you stick this back in the wheel and then inflate it and something went wrong with your patch, you've got to go around the houses and do it all again. Let's put some air in it. Let's see what happens. Okay. And you can see that where you've put the patch on, it causes this kind of pinch to happen. That's normal. There's not really a lot you can do about that. The inner tube wouldn't be as big as it looks once it's inside the wheel. So that's an important thing to say. When you inflate an inner tube out in fresh air, it kind of goes enormous because there's no tyre to constrict its growth, if you like. But when you're doing this outside, it's going to make this funny shape. Anyway, I'm just going to have a listen to it for a second. Can't hear a thing. I'm going to have a listen to the valve, just in case there's a problem with the valve. No, it's all good. Nailed it. First time. So, the last part, let the air back out again. So find yourself something to do that with. Press the little needly bit in the end of the valve, if it's a car type. If it's a Presta type, undo the thing and press the button on the end. But let the air back out, but maybe not all of it, because actually it's quite handy to keep a little tiny bit of air in the tube for when you go putting it back in the wheel, as per our other video, link below. And that is a successful puncture repair. So to recap, take an extra tube with you anyway, just in case the one that gets punctured is catastrophically damaged and can't really be repaired, in which case take the dead one home with you and recycle it. Carry a set of these handy sticky style patches, which are and that is a successful puncture repair. So to recap, take an extra tube with you anyway, just in case the one that gets punctured is catastrophically damaged and can't really be repaired, in which case take the dead one home with you and recycle it. Carry a set of these handy sticky style patches, which are the sort of modern way of doing it, and they will come with a little bit of this sandpaper. And when it comes to repairing that puncture, check, double check and triple check for lots of different holes, and remember to check again and again around the inside of the tyre as well for whatever caused those punctures. Okay, I've been Jim from jimthebikeguy.com. We've talked about repairing inner tubes today. Specifically, we've been talking about butyl inner tubes. So this black stuff is butyl. If you have a latex inner tube, or one of the newer lightweight style tubes like the Tubelito type thing, or you have a tubeless tyre or a tubular tyre, and my head's spinning now, the repair methods for those are different, and I would advise you to look at either our tubeless video or do your research on those methods. The video today has been explicitly about repairing these butyl inner tubes. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please do let us know in the comments below what you feel. I've been Jim from jimthebikeguy.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot. The eagle-eyed amongst you might have been wondering, why is this inner tube so small? It's actually off of a pram. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. Cheers.